And I believe that most people in this country are fed up to the back teeth with the whole thing. I think they look at both parties and they see them in a mess. And the only way out of it now, to do the right thing, is to take it back to the British people, to have that...
Anna Soubry stood on a manifesto of the Conservative Party that said they'd delivered a referendum result. You're not doing that. You've changed to a different party. Now you want a second referendum. You should sit by elections because the circumstances have changed for your constituents.
That's not what my constituents are telling me, and my principles and my values have not changed. I tell you what my people in my constituency want. They want a people's vote. They are entitled to a final say, and they are entitled...
The withdrawal agreement, or we can't deliver on it. People don't like that, but it's a complex issue. We can get the numbers and get this through. We can deliver on leaving the European Union.
Young woman at the back.
Well, to be honest, I can't believe we're still having this debate. At this point in time, I think the only things left in Europe should be Liverpool and Tottenham. And I think, Anna, if you would like another referendum, why can't we use the EU elections as another referendum? And when the Brexit Party do well, which I hope they do, and that's coming from a Conservative Party member, I've been a member of the Conservative Party since I was 16. I'm now 19. I've canvassed for them, but the party has let us down. And I will be voting for the Brexit Party during the European elections. And that seems to me a democratic way of having a second referendum, which would be undemocratic.
I know you're putting this to Anna, but Amber, I just want to hear what you think of that.
But the point is, what is your answer to my point that whatever sort of Brexit you want, we have to get a majority of MPs for voting for it in the House of Commons. We have a House of Commons, we have members of Parliament, 34 Conservatives voted against it, so we're not able to deliver on it. Whatever you may choose to have as you think the best Brexit, it has to get through Parliament, because that's our law, that's legislation. If we can't get it through, we can't deliver it. So this is the only one we have a chance of getting through.
Even worse than staying a member of the European Union. This is a coalition of Parliament against the people, and I pray that it does not go through, because it won't be Brexit.
Good Friday Agreement that's delivered peace now for decades.
But David Trimble, who was won a Nobel Prize for all this, doesn't think that's the case. I think it's an easy thing to say to try and wind everybody up, but I don't believe that. If you look at right across the piece, I don't believe that should be an obstacle to getting.
Taoiseach in Dublin has said there'd be no border put up. Monsieur Barnier has said there'd be no border put up.
Can I just
the British government have said that no border would get put up.
No, wait a minute.
Unless Donald Trump's coming over to build a wall, you know.
The former head of the World Trade Organisation. So you'd think he'd know what he's talking about, Pascal Lamy, when he was talking with a Conservative...
Former European Commissioner.
And former European Commissioner.
Funny that, yeah.
Well...
Right, so
he was the head of the WTO, and he thought this idea of this kind of solution you're suggesting in Northern Ireland was for the birds.
Is Pascal Lamy suggesting a hard border?
He's suggesting that any other solution is not going to work.
Nobody is suggesting a hard border, and that's the point.
These are the lies and the spin.
Oh, right, here we go.
Because Nigel Farage was criticising the return of our customs union and regulatory alignment. In 2015, he was arguing for exactly the same thing, saying that we could leave the European Union just like Norway had done, which is still a member of the single market.
Norway never joined. What are you talking about?
Because in 2015...
What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about, the lies that you told...
I said no deal is better than a bad deal, Anna. I argued it all through the referendum, day after day after day. You clearly weren't listening. You never do you?
Can I just say... Wait a minute. Can I just say, you're talking about the toxicity of the debate and the kind of hot tempers we see here and the kind of stuff we've seen online and outside Parliament. Talking like this is exactly surely what we're talking about.
But people...
We can be better than that, can't we?
But you're right, Fiona, but in the referendum, people like Nigel said we would get a deal. He argued for that. He said...
I said no deal's better than a bad deal, Anna. Day after day after day.
No,
you weren't listening, were you?
Well, you can't listen to me because you can't let me finish a sentence.
Amber,
but during
Amber Rose wants to come in.
People were told we wouldn't leave unless a deal had been done. That's what we were promised. Like we were promised an extra £350 million a week on the bus for the NHS.
It's also about the cost of sterling, which would crash if we leave without a deal. Your living standards will be affected. Nigel Farage won't be affected by that. He's done brilliantly out of Europe, and still, frankly, is. It's you who will be affected. I'm trying to negotiate a sensible way to honour that referendum result, but make sure people are protected, they can go on living their lives. That is not a dishonourable position to be in, and frankly, we need more sensible discussion like that, rather than what we're hearing tonight from Nigel.
Let's take another question. Graham Howard.
Would a change of Prime Minister break the current Brexit deadlock?
Well, I was going to ask you this, Amber. I mean, you've had a...
Corbyn come out and put the case forward from the left to see how we leave the EU. He's too quiet. As a student of Tony Benn, he should put in his case forward and tell us what he really thinks.
Well, we'd all be quite interested in the answer to that question.
What is the answer to that question, Jonathan? Is Labour remain or leave?
Well, the majority of Labour MPs will remain, but most of us accepted the result, and we want to move on and get a deal to do that. But
so which is it? Which is it? Are you remain? Are you standing for remain or leave?
We're trying to get a leave deal. We're trying to get a position that moves the country forward and accepts the result of the referendum. But just to answer
so your own
that
MPs who say, I mean, you've got Andrew Adonis, for example, said only yesterday, only Labour can stop Brexit. Obviously, you've got Wes Streeting, who says we're a party of remain. The difficulty is I think that's the point the gentleman's making. So many of your own MPs don't seem to be sure.
Well, they're representing in the main the view in their own constituencies, and there's nothing unreasonable about that.
No, they're not.
Just to answer that gentleman's question, the problem with the case for Brexit, the idea that Brexit will deliver goals of Brexit, I'm afraid it just doesn't add up, because the people who will suffer the most from that no-deal Brexit are people on the lowest income, some of the most vulnerable people, and that is why any Labour leader, including Germany, because of what we know what has already happened in terms of the effect on the currency, the effect of prices rising, those are real factors.
OK, let's say, and of course West Street is calling for a second referendum.
60% of Labour seats voted leave. Your MPs are not representing their constituents. They're letting down their people even more than Tories.
They are trying to implement the deal that you promised and isn't available, and your mistake has led to this problem. If you had been proved right, we'd already have left.
My mistake. My mistake was to believe that we should be an independent, self-governing nation. That's what Brexit. That's what we voted for. It's what we want.
None of the things that
do you really believe that Jeremy Corbyn would make a great Prime Minister in your party?
I think he'd be the right way right now.
You see, this is the lack of honesty which is absolutely destroying politics in this country. You have to be honest about this. And I pay credit
sorry, are you saying Jonathan's lying?
No, I think he's doing his job.
No,
but I pay tribute to those Labour MPs who are putting their constituents first. And they are saying, whichever way you do Brexit, on the government's own assessments, it will make their constituents worse off. The best deal we've got is the current deal with the EU, but get it back to the British people and let them have a final say on Theresa May's deal. Why won't they? You know why you don't want it? Because they know that the British people have changed their minds.
You'd ignore it again, Anna, wouldn't you?
They'll vote to remain in the European Union.
You'd ignore it a second time, wouldn't you?
That's why they are not taking it back to the British people.
Vivienne Wilkinson,
I don't think it would change anything at the moment.
Well, we know she's going to go at some point. Do you think the next leader should be a Brexiteer?
I think the thing that matters most about the next leader is that they're going to deliver on strong conservative values of making sure we have a strong economy, strong welfare state, support businesses. That's not going to be my priority when I look for who's the next leader. I want somebody who can deliver on the other things apart from Brexit, because I hope we'll have been able to deliver on the first stage, and then I'll be looking for somebody who's really going to support the country, support the welfare state, invest in businesses, and really take this country forward.
John, should